Hello, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast. We are here. It is time at last. First inaugural movie review of this brand new show. We're coming at you for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn and or Harley Quinn Birds of Prey.
Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey. Two birds, two Pradius. It is not just Travis and I on the horn today. We are joined by the one and only Video Drew.
Hello.
Very excited
Hi.
to have you on.
Thank you. I'm very excited for you to have me on as well.
Yes, this is awesome. As Travis and I have made no secret on this show, and as we were talking to you beforehand, he and I are both fans and students of the movie Trivia Schmodown. So it is.
Oh, you've talked about me before? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are the links? What's the timestamp? I want to hear it.
Oh, we just talk about the
keep a
Schmodown
list.
in general a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly the opener when that happened, and then I don't think we talked about
Not much
Spectacular.
since because we.
So
yeah.
you guys haven't talked about me at all. That's
Not
fine.
yet.
That's
Well,
fine.
you haven't played this season yet.
Yeah. We'll
till
definitely
Monday.
be. We'll be definitely hyping
Monday.
that up.
Next Monday.
Well, we will be all over that match.
Yeah.
I think for now we're going to skip Slice of Life since we're going to have a lot to talk about.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Boop.
So, real quick Oscars recap before we get into the Birds of Prey review. Great ceremony last night, as everybody's probably heard by now. Parasite absolutely crushed it, knocked it out of the park, won all the awards. Very happy for them.
You?
Very momentous occasion. Joker, hallelujah, didn't win Best Director. That was a close one. I got a little nervous there for a hot
little bit.
second.
Oh,
We drank till
Yep.
the sun came up.
We drank till the sun came up. But yeah, Joker won for Best Actor for Joaquin. Very well deserved. And same for the score, which I think is what we predicted.
Yeah.
We were like, those are the ones that we had a good feeling about. So
may I ask? Did you guys predict that it was going to be a woman who had done the score for Joker? Because where I was sitting, I was sitting with I think I can say I was sitting with Paul Preston and Adam Witt, the movie guys who are Schmodown competitors as well, and they're like, "Wow, is that just the sound that women hear in their head when Joaquin Phoenix approaches them at a bar?" And I was like, "Amazing." I was like, "That's an incredible." I was like, "What a beauty!" Because it's like a weird Hans Zimmer kind of track, and I don't think I
Yeah.
ever expected it to be a woman composer.
yeah,
Not like
no,
it's gender, yeah, but it's interesting.
I only knew because I saw that she had won, I want to say at the Golden Globes.
Yes.
So I did know that.
I
the
think like
composer was a
everywhere that
woman.
she's been nominated with Joaquin, she has won with him every time.
Yeah, which is adorable. I love that. But yeah, so congratulations to Hilda
Thank you.
not going to attempt that last name, and Joaquin Phoenix.
I said it earlier correctly.
Good job. I'm
don't
still
remember
afraid
how.
to even take an attempt at it. I know it's buried in the show notes from one of the older episodes.
It's okay. We now call it the international last name.
Yeah,
So, no,
I like that.
it took a minute. That took a minute, but I got it. You guys got it. You guys got it.
We got it. We love it.
Yeah, thank you.
We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Birds of Prey came out this weekend.
It sure did.
Unfortunately,
A lot of people apparently didn't know that.
yeah, it might be news to some people. Unfortunately, not doing great at the box office.
I think I saw it made 33 million domestic over the weekend.
Yeah, within
Oh,
budget of
damn.
about
If only
85
I
million.
had that unhappily amount of $33
Right.
million dollars.
Or the same way, like
okay.
I think my favorite headline of 2020 so far was the Forbes article calling The Rise of Skywalker a $1 billion disappointment. It's like,
Wow, that is a burn. That's a whole mood right there, huh?
like, I'll happily be disappointed for $1 billion fucking dollars. Also, this is language free on this one, guys. Just a heads up, because it's a movie review.
Yeah, we're gonna be cursing a little bit, so put those kitties to bed.
Yes. And Levi isn't here to scold us for saying the fuck word.
I don't even know who he is.
No, you'd enjoy him. He's very Stonewall kind of humor.
Okay.
So, spoiler-free thoughts before we get too deep into the movie. Video Drew, how did you? Spoiler-free thoughts on Birds of Prey as a whole.
Okay, can I do this really free thoughts? I know we talked about this a little earlier about like how it even came to be that I would go see a movie like this.
Yes,
Yeah, sure.
please. Yes,
Okay,
please.
so I mean I like superhero stuff just fine. Like I think I saw my first Marvel film when I moved to Los Angeles, and I saw Ragnarok, and that's a
a
great
good
one to
first.
come in on.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, honestly, I think it spoiled me a little bit. I was like, oh man, who knew that the superhero movies were so fucking good, and really funny, and like I was like, Thor's great. Someone should have been telling me about this for a long time.
You came in on the best one.
And while I love the Joker, and I love, my favorite idea of the Joker is myself as the Joker. I'm really campaigning hard for Flashpoint, Martha Wayne.
Ooh, please.
To be like, yeah, I was like, but it needs to be Videodrome. That's the
Of
thing.
course.
Like, I'm like having my video drones assemble and bug Todd Phillips into making it me. But the Joker's just a fascinating character. I had no interest in seeing Suicide Squad. I had no interest in seeing like a version of the female Joker, quote unquote, that's literally just an abused woman with Stockholm syndrome and calling that, calling that like a badass. I saw this movie with Jeff Snyder, another Schmodown competitor and a friend of mine, he was just like, come see it with me. I really want to see Margot Robbie. And from the second the movie started, I was so all in. I was like bouncing on my seat and clapping my hands. I was like basically a kid seeing Star Wars for the first time. That movie made me so
Or just
incredibly
me
happy.
seeing Star Wars for the 1000th time.
It was me watching that kiss, spoiler alert, being like, what? And I think by acting that way, I pissed Jeff off enough. So by the time we left the movie theater, he's like, I hate Harley Quinn now. She's annoying. Can you think of anyone more annoying than Harley Quinn? And I was like, I mean, the Joker's kind of obnoxious. I mean,
Jeff the Snyder.
They ruined Harley Quinn. I went, ruined from what? The cartoon animated series that she was originated from? Because, don't at me, nerds, but I do know my stuff. Like, she's not originally comic canon. She was created for the 90s show.
Yep.
So, like, she was, she talks like Mr. J put it. She talks like Ellen
That
Green
was not
from Little Shop
bad.
of Horrors. No, it's another abused woman from pop culture. It's Ellen Green from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yep.
And she's just, a little. But the way that Margot Robbie played it, it was like watching I, Tonya snort a bunch of cocaine and get superpowers. It was awesome. Sorry to
Remember, kids, cocaine
not-
gives you superpowers.
Cocaine's just not only that, but this movie was something that I loved, and it reminded me a lot of my favorite show of all, like one of my favorite I think probably my favorite superhero show of all. A show that did not take itself very seriously after season one.
What was that
about,
you
like-
said? You cut out for a hot second. What did you
Sorry,
say?
Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
Gotham was like my favorite show after season one because that was a show that did not take itself too seriously, did not focus on Batman, and was just sort of like, hey, you know what's weird? Everyone else in Gotham's a freak. Like everyone else in Gotham has like the weirdest stuff going on. Like, and,
There's a reason Gotham City's a shithole.
Not only shithole, but like Kyle Ra's al Ghul was totally right. Like that place needs to burn to the ground.
Yeah.
Like it totally 100% needs to burn to the ground. It's needed to burn to the ground for a while. It might be on a hellmouth.
I need the the sub show of two Joker goons, and man, you ever think everyone else in Gotham is a freak too?
Wait, have you not watched Gotham? Because that is literally what Gotham's about. There's a whole subplot in season 3 where Cobblepot and the Riddler run for office, and Cobblepot's Trump, and then he falls in love with the Riddler. There's a gay / fiction element. It's a whole thing. Balloon Man shows up. Mad Hatter's there for a season. Like they just go all in. Doctor Strange is played. Dr. Hugo Strange is played by what's his name? Jurassic Park, BD Wong.
Yeah.
And everyone is just having so much fun. Victor Zaz, who was in this movie, is played by NoHo Hank from, the bald guy. If you guys watch the show Barry on HBO.
I've not had a chance to watch Barry, which is a travesty because I have a man crush on Bill Hader.
You're missing out because Victor Zaz. It was a real hard cut off for me about my favorite Zaz because I didn't think Chris Messina was going to be very good in this movie. But by the end of it, him and Ewan McGregor seemed to be having so much fun that I would have watched another 90 minutes of just them having a spin-off.
Oh my god!
I
would
like 90
so
minutes
watch.
of whatever is going on over there. I mean, like that's the fun thing. Batman is such a stoic, such a serious person that the more gender fluid, weird, crazy you can make the villains, and the more like, I don't know, not relatable, but they all sort of have the same Batman issue. Like they all kind of have the same origin story, and that's not a spoiler to say they're all messed up, and they're messed up from being kids, and it's just kind of how they relate to their trauma.
Yeah.
Like everyone in Gotham is just so traumatized, and it's literally how you adapt to the trauma that determines if you're a hero or villain, and how funny of a hero or villain you're going to be.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like that a lot.
I mean, talk about Joker, and another thing that's the opposite of Joker would be Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey.
That's very much true, and I agree with that.
So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, we're ready for much more. Travis, your thoughts on Bop or Q Bop?
You better have loved it, Travis.
I kind of did, actually. I didn't want to. I was so ready to dislike this movie. Not that I wanted it to fail, but I was like going into it. I was like, I'm going to pay money and not like this. And then
the marketing freaked everybody out. You know.
Yeah.
Why? Wait, can I ask why? Because it could come in like I didn't care about Suicide Squad. I didn't want to see it. So why did the marketing freak people out?
Because we saw Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad was a mess. Like not just from a film, it like editing wise, the movie was not cut together right.
Yeah, it was very.
There are mismatched scenes, and because like in knowing that this movie was the conglomeration of like 2 or 3 other movies.
Really?
Yeah, because right after Suicide Squad.
That's funny. Okay, go ahead.
Because right after Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers announced like an assload of other DC movies, almost none of which have come to fruition. They announced 2 separate Joker movies, one of which being the Joaquin Phoenix, Todd Phillips one, and another one being a solo one for Jared Leto.
No, that's exactly what I don't want to see. Is Jared Leto? That's exactly what I don't want to see.
I can't necessarily blame you on that one.
No.
But they also announced that there would be a Joker and Harley movie, a Harley movie, a Birds of Prey movie, and a Gotham City Sirens movie.
Oh my God, we already have a girls one. And let me circle back on that in a second. But yeah, no, that's too many. First of all, that's too many things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Second of all, you're picking the most boring people. Like the Joker Harley Quinn relationship is so like gross to me that I wanted to hate this movie because I didn't want to be one of those chicks who likes Harley Quinn or identifies with Harley Quinn because it's so gross to be like,
I think it's all a
I'm
matter
crazy. My boyfriend's crazy, but really what that means is I'm abused by a fucking sociopath.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to like the level of understanding of that character that people have. And recognizing, like, Harley is not a badass because she is the Joker's right hand. Like, she's a badass because she was able to break away from the toxicity that is the Joker. And like,
but in what timeline, right? Like, I mean, not in the series, not in the animated,
not in the cartoon,
series, right?
but like in the now that she's like been integrated into the comics.
That's true. Yes,
a lot of different versions of Harley have that moment of, you know what, actually, fuck the Joker. I want nothing to do with you. And having that moment of like that very I am woman, hear me roar. I am here. I'm going to whoop your ass. And
which, by the way, I love that this movie never really like hit on the head in an overtly like this is a female. I did a podcast with John Roca where we clickbaitedly titled it "Birds of Prey." Don't call it a feminist film.
Yeah,
and by that I meant it definitely has feminist elements, but it is not like overtly about girl power. It is just about people.
I think it was High Top Films. His review of it that he put out was that like this has the kind of like empowerment in it that doesn't feel like it was the kind of empowerment written by like a room full of like straight white dudes.
I think it might have been.
I was about to say it didn't feel like a studio note that this needed to be a female film. It didn't feel like a Captain Marvel. This needs to be a female film. Maybe it's because she's an anti-hero. Maybe because she's just a weirdo, wacky person, or maybe because the dynamics of that particular seemed so. They never like got together. It was never like they were all solitary people. I mean, I loved Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Oh my God!
Yeah,
can I get not a little spoiler, but to say that there's like to watch a female version of our main character usually is hysterically funny, and the fact that what they did at the end was like a direct nod to Avengers, and the way that this was both the same and different than a lot of films that I think are way worse. The thing I compared it to was Deadpool 2, but it's better than Deadpool 2.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, this is very much has those Deadpoolian elements to it.
So yeah,
But to that point, Jeff, when we left, Jeff said this movie was a mess, and I went, well, I mean, like, first of all, no, narratively it made sense as much as any Scorsese movie where they stop it's an unreliable narrative where we stop, we go back. That didn't bother me. But secondly, that movie was pretty cohesive looking. The set pieces were great. That scene in the amusement park, oh my God, it was like something out of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
After about that first third, where I kind of like realized, like, okay, no, they put this movie together the right way.
Yes, it took me a while. Yeah, it took until the first third.
And I was like, oh, and this is like the poppy fun thing that I liked out of Suicide Squad, and I kind of just settled back and enjoyed the ride. About like, the prison scene, right?
And
without giving it
Deadpool,
away.
you mean? Oh no, the prison scene in this movie. Oh, with the
She breaks out Cassie.
Guys, are we talking to people who have not seen the show or who have? Or am I just talking to the two of you right now?
Right now, it's
am
just
I allowed to
us.
spoil it?
We'll get out of spoiler-free talk in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, what I'll just say then is the ensemble cast really makes this, and again, not in a way that feels like it was forced or they did test markets to see if this plays well in other states. Like, I remember when the poster came out and everyone was super mad that it was, Harley Quinn was featured in the center and the girls weren't there. So it's really ironic now that they're changing the title of the movie to more accurately reflect that Harley Quinn's the person in it.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole poster, everyone's like, but there's more than just one. There's a bunch of them. Every single person in that movie seemed like they could have their own spin-off universe. I want to know what's going on with Victor Zsasz. Like, what is going on with Victor Zsasz? What was going on with Black Mask?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Oh my God. maybe the best interpretation of like a sort of I don't know, the third, there's like gay, straight, and then there's whatever he was doing. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal in like Nightcrawler or something, or like Jake Gyllenhaal in Aksha. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I want to live in your world, you creepy weirdo freak. Like, I loved it. I don't think Ewan McGregor has ever had so much fun in his fucking life.
I think you're right, and I could totally see. I would watch so much of anything involving Ewan McGregor's Black Mask.
Ewan McGregor, and then specifically Ewan McGregor and Chris Messina, who at first I was like, this is a weird pairing.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was like, this is the world's most perfect ship. Like,
yeah, like that's.
Oh my God, I love them. I love them so much.
It was weird in that way of like, I know from the source material I shouldn't feel that way, but also I really do.
Oh, and they leaned in hard.
Yeah.
That's why I also compared it to Gotham, because like Gotham was like, no, screw it. The Penguin's in love with the Riddler. That's a thing. Like, and it made it a whole arc and a whole subplot, and it wasn't like subtext. It was like
It was text.
it was over. It was text, and then like it like played out as a whole freaking thing, and it was amazing. It was like watching Tumblr come to life very well.
That is the best way to describe this movie as well.
And I'm sorry, like, don't at me haters, but if you take Batman so seriously that you can't like handle the idea of like an alternate timeline in which Batman and these things existed in millions of different timelines, you have to have the one where everyone's straight and like heteronormative, and the Joker isn't definitely like a gender fluid weirdo as well to play against Batman's stoicism. Then you are not reading comic book right.
I completely agree with that.
Asshole on the internet.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah,
but yeah, I know
you're Ben Affleck, basically.
I love this. But yeah, Travis, my first time seeing it with you, or my first time seeing it was with you. I came in like 15, 20-ish minutes in.
You came in right before I like settled in and was like, okay, I'm having fun now. Like,
Oh my God. Yeah, but by the way, that's true. You might have done well to miss those first 20 minutes because it was kind of like I didn't know the tone.
I did see it. I
being
did
like,
see it a
I'm
second
weird
time and got to take the whole thing
and like,
in.
whoops. And Mr. J and Puddin', and I didn't like that.
Yeah, getting to see it in its entirety eventually, I could appreciate the movie more because there was just little nuggets here and there that were just a lot of fun to take in.
You know what's awesome? I would have liked that movie more had I not known that it was in the Batman universe. I think that movie works as its own weirdo, like, and the way the Sucker Punch could have been a great movie, and that it exists in its own wacky doodle universe.
Yeah,
like
I mean, me being like the nitpicker by nature that I am, and someone who like though Batman is one of my favorite superheroes, I also like enjoy
not
how
superhero. He's a detective. Go ahead. Don't at me.
That's a fair point and a debate that we don't necessarily have time for. And one that
Well,
I
we
would like
should
to-
because there's somebody with superpowers in this movie.
which
that's
is fair.
awesome.
True.
Yeah. I would definitely. I mean, I look at superheroes more as like the deeds and feats attributed so much as like the abilities they're in. But like either
yeah.
way, like Batman's one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. But I also like love how wacky the world around him is.
Yeah.
And like, and as somebody who loves, Batman's like, it's just another day in Gotham. Like we got this basket case blowing shit up here. I really did enjoy this tone for Gotham.
Oh my God!
and
Yes,
it's-
this is the Gotham I would like everyone to be in.
Yeah, and I said to Travis and on the show we used to be on when we reviewed Joker that like, Joker had this very like grimy, like hopeless, terrible.
Joker is what West Coast people think New York's like. As somebody who has gone home with a clown before because I needed to see what the inside of that apartment looked like, I just needed to. I can tell you that we love our crazy people. Like, we love our crazy people. It is, if you hear someone singing Sondheim on the freaking train, you start singing right along with them. Like, New York is great to our crazy people. That movie, if it did anything disrespectfully, it was disrespectful to how much New Yorkers embraced insanity.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is like, with Joker and then Birds of Prey, we have like the two very different interpretations of Gotham where you have like the very like dreary, like this is literally a hellhole. And then like you have the I've woken up in a, fever dream, like this city is objectively a bad place to live, but Jesus Christ, is it fun?
But like, also, is it like it's not even unattractive? It's like sparkly. It's like fun. It's like the things that
it's
are usually so
colorful.
grimy, even in like any cartoon version. Like I can't think of another version where the sun is out so often in Gotham. I mean, there were a lot of things in this movie that I found really interesting, like the use of food. Like you don't usually see women, let alone anyone in a superhero movie eating food the way that they had her eating food and like obsessing about, and just like, it was the final shot. And I mean, it was just like a real fetishization of certain things that really show a love and like lust for life.
Yeah.
In a certain way that I feel like a lot of Gotham and a lot of dreary Gotham lacks.
I think you're absolutely right on that. But yeah, I on the whole really enjoyed it. I think my biggest gripe with it, and I would definitely say this to somebody going into the movie, as somebody who really liked it, who like you, Drew, loved the ensemble cast. I love Black Canary. I love Huntress. I loved all of it. Huntress especially. I think like of like the core group of the good guys.
Amazing.
I fucking
I loved Huntress so much.
I know when
Also,
she
I feel like
freaks the hell out.
that might have been why Ewan McGregor was having so much fun because him and Mary Elizabeth Winstead met on the set of Fargo, and they were both like married to other people.
Yeah.
They got together, and it's a weird thing. Not to go off tangent, but like Fargo just does that to people because Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst played a couple, and then they got married.
Yeah.
After the show, but you could just tell, even though I don't even think they were in a scene together, there was just sort of this. There was this
Not really.
looseness.
The only I don't.
There was a looseness to McGregor, and there was a very like comedic tightness to her. That I feel like maybe they like were just chilling out after set, and they were like, it'd be funny, like if you did this, like, honey, what if you did? It's almost like you could tell that their loved one was watching from the sidelines while they shot the scene.
Yeah.
That's the sense I was getting.
It is really cute, and you're absolutely right. And like, I think my favorite Huntress moment, was when they were all in the booby trap.
Yeah,
and
I know.
And
What you're
Huntress
gonna say.
comes in, and like, and she's like, "You're the crossbow killer." No, not the fucking crossbow killer. And then Montoya just goes, "You're Helena Bertinelli." Fuck. Like,
Exactly. Oh wait. Oh, that's not the part I was thinking of. My favorite part is like, she's like, "Who shoots with bows and arrows?" He's not bows and arrows. I'm not a child.
But
It's a
fucking
crossbow.
fucking crossbow is one of my favorite.
Oh my
ones
God.
in
And
the movie.
by the way, that's very endemic to me of like why this movie is perfect because it doesn't take itself seriously.
No, and it shouldn't have.
Whereas
yeah.
in Batman, it's because I'm not wearing hockey pants. In this one, it's It's
Here are the
Ross,
hockey
though.
pads.
It's like a child having a tantrum because like
Yeah,
Damn
and like, and if there's, I will say this to anybody going into the movie again, especially knowing the nature of Birds of Prey.
don't worry about
being
it. That's what I'd say. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I
Chill.
mean, me personally, the with the weird like it's called Birds of Prey, but it's really Harley's movie. Knowing that this was like what happened when they put a bunch of different scripts into a blender and ended up with something beautiful. I
That's
personally,
really interesting to hear. That I just had no idea because it's. I did not know that it was multiple scripts. It stands very cohesively as one thing. To
I
me.
think this
It's
would have,
fascinating.
yeah, and I think the fact that this ended up being good is like it's an act of it's an act of movie gods.
Well, because they took so long to make it, like,
Yeah.
and plus you had like Margot Robbie producing it and helping with
Yeah,
that stuff.
and who she so clearly loves playing.
Yeah.
this
Oh my God,
character.
she does. That's the thing. I was like, she's bringing all that I, Tanya energy. And I was like, why should this be considered lowbrow when like this is just I, Tanya energy?
Yeah,
Like a bunch of bright colors. Also, this movie reminded me of something, but I could never put my finger on it. It's not like the style was so reminiscent of something else. It was bouncy, it was weird, it was crazy. I mean, it reminded me about being like shopping at Dolls Kills, maybe, or like Hot Topic, but there was nothing like it was so uniquely its own style while still like invoking.
as a
certain
former
feeling.
Hot Topic employee, I agree.
Right. Yeah, exactly. As someone who went to Hot Topic yesterday.
And don't forget your hot cash. But I
Oh
think
my God, I do not.
I really loved all the characters who were brought to the table here. And I said this to you off the record, Travis, and I will reiterate it here. I think this movie would have done better, perhaps at the box office, and also like a little bit more on just a storytelling level if they swapped out doing the Birds of Prey for the Gotham City Sirens.
Oh, I don't know. I hate that though, because this
And,
movie
like-
should, and I also hate the idea of putting Harley on it because I like the idea that this should be able to stand alone as a movie that people don't even realize takes place in the Batman universe.
No,
That's how good it is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, and I enjoy that. That a movie that is dealing solely with Batman characters in Gotham did not
Like
need.
Mr. J, like you don't. Maybe you'd be a little bit confused about who she's talking about, but you don't have to know. Like it just exists, and everyone.
Yeah.
She's a relatable enough thing as a crazy person who went through a terrible breakup and is now trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
And it tells you enough that like when she says Mr. J, everyone kind of shudders for a second. Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well,
And they
yeah,
still
you get
address
it.
him
It's an
by
abusive
the
relationship.
Joker.
She has a little cartoon thing in the beam, but I'm
Yeah.
saying you don't have to know Batman canonical history. But of course you
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
You fucking nerds. Of course you do.
Oh,
but I'm saying you don't
absolutely.
have to. I could bring like a person
Yeah.
from a different country or
Yeah.
from like under a rock, and they would still understand like the core
Yeah,
concepts. of
my
this
dad
movie.
doesn't know like Batman like deep lore, and
Yeah.
he's who I saw it with the second time, and he enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it kind of works on a Maybe it kind of reminds me of. It works on a Ragnarokian level.
That's very true. That's very apt.
Because I didn't have to see any of the other. I was saying earlier, I had never seen a Marvel, MCU film until Ragnarok, and I was like, "Oh wow, I'm apparently missing out on a lot because this is amazing."
Yeah.
No, but then it turned out like, no,
No, that's just Taika Waititi.
Thor wasn't. That was
This is
just that
Taika
time.
Waititi.
Yeah, that was just Korg.
It's cold.
My
This is Korg. My name's Korg. Go ahead. Go
standout
ahead, I won't
character. No, you're good. I love the reason I think it would be better with the Sirens is it's easier for Harley to be a part of that team without like having that weird like, okay, Harley's working with them, but she's like adjacent to it.
Oh,
I
I
think
like
it-
that though.
and,
that I like that because like that allows it to be like it's not about girl power or like girl team up. It's like no, we all happen to be women and we're all working towards the same agenda right now.
Yeah,
But
totally.
eventually, one of us is going to be a vigilante, and one of us is going to go. Like they're not they're not changing their inherent structure and becoming the Spice Girls. I loved it. I loved that part of it specifically that they were not necessarily even on the same team. It was like a heist movie. They just had to work together to get at.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. For me personally, as somebody who like, I think that on a character level, especially the arc that Black Canary goes on and the way that she's written in this interpretation of her, you could very easily like just retool that as Catwoman And then you could also have, and we could also, and again, and I'm the, and I
No,
and
keep going. I'm interested because I don't know
have
who the sirens are. I don't know who the sirens are.
the Gotham City Sirens are just Harley, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy, and it's just
See, I
they're
don't like that as much.
and that,
See,
and it's not even like an
because
official team so much as it's just like
but they're known. We know
yeah.
their story. I loved not knowing who the hell these people were.
And I
love
yeah,
not knowing
and I
who
think
Black
that's a
Mask
huge
is.
yeah. I think that's something that, you know, as somebody who would have, my brain always goes to like, okay, like how do we make a movie like this that like the mainstream audience isn't going to like run away from? I think it's easier to like not have to do as much legwork on like, okay, this is who Huntress is, this is who Black Canary is, this is who Renee Montoya is, to just be like, okay, everybody has like a baseline knowledge of this is who Catwoman is, this is who Ivy is. And I also would very much like to see the beautiful friendship that Ivy and Harley have brought to life live action on the big screen. And especially
That's cute. That's cute. I mean, I get that. I just think that would make it like a drag it because it's a female empowerment movie. Whereas this was
Especially with the nature of Ivy.
It had female
Yeah.
empowerment angles, but it was definitely not like written towards the eye of this has to be a socially woke film.
which again, a lot of that's fair. Like I said, I just for me personally, I think there would have been a little bit more
I think
cohesion and like
it sells easier, but I think it's a better movie for being this version.
that's right. I think that's exactly. I think it would sell
exactly
easier
because
for
it's
the
like, you know,
Sirens.
if you know Batman stuff enough, you know who the cop is, and you know that, like, you know who she is, and you know who Canary is. I mean, the weirdest thing to me about Canary, I guess, was I didn't know her as a character, and then I was like, is she the only person in the whole Gotham like mythology who has superpower? Or can I spoil that now? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I was like, people have superpowers in this universe? Because no, they don't. Like, he's a detective.
Yeah, and then that's the other weird thing is like she is the only other powered one, and you also have like the weird fact that like
There's King Croc and there's, you know, Clayface, but they're like their experiments gone wrong. This is a weird concept to bring into the Batman universe.
That's also why having Ivy there is kind of a problem, because she is just so overpowered to, like, given any situation, especially in like group of girls versus
she's not
group
a
of
she's
men.
she's not a fighter. She's a lover.
Yeah, I mean, she hates humanity though. She's a lover of her plants, and that's it.
And I'm saying,
like,
but she has to get close to you in order to hurt you.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
not
but
about-
I mean, a lot of the more recent versions do have that, like, she can basically go full Groot and just like start weaponizing the vegetation around her.
Yeah.
Which
Can I spoil something about Gotham that makes her fucking crazy, like
yes,
awesome?
Yes.
She starts out like Batman's age, which is like bar mitzvah age Batman, bat mitzvah age Batman. She's like 13. Then she gets like touched by a weird Hugo Strange experiment, immediately grows into like the body of a 30-year-old, like a hot 30-year-old. And then spends the rest of the show dealing with that BS of like being hypersexualized and like treated like an adult woman while still being mentally the age of a 13-year-old girl. And it is crazy.
That sounds
Guys,
crazy.
I cannot recommend Gotham highly enough. I would say even if you're going to watch it, skip the first season. It's kind of like it doesn't have the right tone.
and the first
then go
season's
in
what
for
scared me away, actually.
The first season's terrible. The tone was all off. By season 2, they were like, you know what? We're doing our own thing. And it just became... It really rivals this movie in terms of world building, but it's longer. So it's beautiful.
With that, I do want to transition into more spoilery talk. With that out of the way, I will say I think my two favorite parts, because my favorite aspect of this whole movie is Ewan McGregor's Black Mask.
Oh my God, he was so good.
I love a villain
so
who's just
good.
like haphazard.
What was he?
Exactly. I love that, like, that he feels the need to be in control, but is very aware of the fact that he's not, which is a constant for Black Mask as a character. But like seeing it done in this way of like, you know, like this dude just needed a hug when he was a kid.
Can I be honest? Here's where this movie would have benefited more from being a television show. Harley Quinn is the perfect person to treat this guy.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn being the one therapist left in Gotham who hasn't hightailed it out of there. Like, she makes some reference to it. But like the fact is, like, I'm a TV person more than I'm a movie person. That's why I keep referencing Gotham. I love television. I started a television website for The Observer. I love the world creation of television. Like, I love it. I love the long form narrative of it. I love anthologies. there's so much to unpack with him. And there's so much like opportunity that's there because it's Harley. And she's, and she's got this thing about falling for guys that she's treating. But let's actually see her treat somebody or use like reverse psychology instead of just being like a crazy ditz a little bit.
Yeah. And you see, and, in Suicide Squad, there are a couple cool Harley moments where she like, where she there's a couple scenes where she profiles people, and
we
have
has
a
it
couple
in here too.
Huh?
She has it in
Yeah, I was
this
just saying
movie,
that's that's another like great
But-
scene, like the whole vengeance psychologically is not going to have the effect on you that you think it's going
Yeah,
to.
she says that, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
she's not figuring out a plan based on the psych profile of
Oh
somebody.
yeah,
Which is like, could be her superpower, like to the point of like, that's what she can do. That's her strength.
yeah. Which it becomes a very fatal flaw for her whenever she's still with the Joker. It's like
Yes,
she's
but now she's
she's willing to do that to anybody else as a weapon, but like she can't read the very obvious.
Did she psychologically manipulate people a lot? I was just.
I
thought she
mean,
was
different
like that.
iterations, and like I said in Suicide Squad, she has a conversation with somebody where she very like basically like reads them their mental bill of health and was like, "So how close was I?"
Yeah, I want to see her as Hannibal Lecter. I want to see her as like, by the way, another show that was just so like overpoweringly canonical now that I don't think of Hannibal Lecter as Anthony Hopkins. I think of Mads Mikkelsen because that show was also just slash
Mads.
fiction of Will Graham and Mads Mikkelsen being in love. I mean, it was great. But like that, I want to see her be the female Hannibal a little bit. She's
Yeah, and
a therapist.
there have definitely been versions that have taken that angle on it, and I would like to see some stuff lean into that more.
Yeah.
I think that would be more interesting to see more of her, like, that trying to get into Roman's head.
And just so we can get, as the audience, I would love to get in Roman's head. What is going on up there?
Oh,
also,
yeah.
Zaz, I was like, is Zaz into self-harm?
Yes.
I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah,
How
Which
many
he
people in
usually
Gotham
is.
are like both serial killers, but also like cutters?
yeah.
That's interesting.
With him, it's that really weird, like, masochistic, like, I cut myself for every life that I take, and
but
it's
does
like
he
it's
seem like a
weird-
masochist? He seems like a lot of things. A masochist doesn't seem like he's a sadist.
I mean, you're right. That's poor word choice. There's
No,
just
but
something
that's how they wrote him.
ritualistic.
He suddenly
yeah.
he's a masochist sadist. I was just like, I would like someone to be like, hey, Victor, that doesn't make much sense. And him to be like, huh, yeah, actually, just gonna stop cutting myself.
Yeah, I mean, because a
That's
lot
weird.
of versions of him, like, there's like a weird, like, oh, I'm helping people by taking their life.
Well, he says that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
he
that's
even
how
says that in the
Anthony
movie at
Kerrigan
one
plays
point.
it a little bit like a
And-
friendly. He's like a friendly hitman.
I feel like
Seriously, that's who he plays
yeah.
in Barry. He's a friendly hitman.
Your
That's
mom's
who's, like,
favorite
overly affable.
killer.
I feel like Zaz's role was written at first as just like generic bodyguard, prime for Sionis, and then like after at some point they went, oh, what if it was just Victor Zaz?
Oh, see, I read it differently, which is that okay. So it's gonna be harder because you guys haven't seen Barry, but or Gotham. But so the actor, this guy Anthony Kerrigan, he has alopecia, so he's bald completely. He looks like Powder from that movie. He plays both Victor Zaz, and he plays him very much like this. He plays on Bill Hader's show Barry, in which he's like the fan favorite character, which is that he's just this overly affable, almost like he's in the wrong business. Like he's just really, really nice. Like he's just a really, really nice guy who also just like happens to be a hitman. He's always sending people emojis, being like, and that's like, and I kind of was feeling that they were keeping Anthony in mind while writing the relationship between Black Canary and him. The way they were kind of like tickle fighting or whatever, and like maybe there were some homoerotic undertones, and maybe these just guys liked hanging out. Maybe they were just best friends, like Superbad style. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I can get down with either like the Zaz Mask ship,
Yeah.
or I can get down with like Victor Zaz and Black Mask just having like one of the best bromances
friendships
in the
of all
history
time.
of film.
By the
Yeah.
way, and how beautiful is it that they don't need to like fucking explain it? They're just like, yeah, they just leave it there. That's
Yeah.
just what it is. It is what it is. They're fun, loving, crazy people.
Yeah, and
There was one tonal moment of this movie that I really hated, actually, and that I thought like it just really rubbed me the wrong way because it just didn't fit with the rest of the movie, and it brought it down. And I see why they did it, but I thought, and it was like, when he gets so upset that he makes that woman strip on top of the table, and it becomes this very like, sexualized thing. And I'm like, no, we get that. You could show you're a bad guy in a million different ways. Like, let's not make it like a like
Yeah,
a one-to-one rape thing. Can we not? Like, can we just have one movie where we just don't do that?
Yeah,
Just one.
I was
can
not.
can we just take their faces off? Do we have to make it a sexuality play?
I like. Can we just cut their face off instead?
It's
Like,
not every day.
Can we just
Yeah.
treat them like
face-
they're just other like these,
Yeah.
Victor Zaz and them, they kind of don't have to treat them like they're women necessarily, and that's why they're fighting them. Although they keep making the point that without Joker, without protection. But for the most part, they're not like, fetishizing, well, I guess he fetishizes Canary. I guess what I'm trying to say is they don't seem that, until that moment, I wasn't like, this movie is about women fighting against the patriarchy.
Yeah.
For a specific reason. It was just people fighting against other crazy people.
For me, it was that moment, and then right before the final fight, when he's giving like the rally speech to his.
Oh my
guys.
god. Oh my god, the masks. I love that they brought the masks back because that's his thing, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
he just
Oh,
loved those
wait.
stupid freaking masks.
Travis,
I loved it.
You have to talk about like your
Oh my
aha
God.
moment when we saw it opening night.
When he had Canary up in his quarters for the first time, and he's just like showing her all these masks like giddy. I was like, oh my god, he's just a mask otaku.
Oh my god.
Like I was
that's
dying.
Amazing.
I was dying.
Oh my god, that's very first of all, very, very good, sir. Like that's a very make. That almost went over my head. But I will say that it's also just like his thing. It's not he's a dandy. And he's a dandy that needs you to know. And I feel like the psychology of him, as brief as we were shown, we got it exactly because it's not that different from Batman's, which is just like,
Yeah,
you're
not entirely wrong.
Rich Daddy didn't pay enough attention, was absent in a certain respect, and then he died. Same as Huntress, same as, Huntress is just a female mafia version of Batman.
Yeah.
And it's not, they don't make a big deal about it. That's why she's stoic. That's why she acts as intensely as Batman acts. But it's funnier when it's on a chick.
No, it's funnier you mention that because again, as you've said, you're not. From what you've said, you're not like super into like the deeper Batman lore. The original version of Huntress was like an Elseworlds. What happens when in one of the timelines where Bruce and Catwoman end up together is that
interesting.
The OG
kind of.
version of Huntress is her name is Helena Wayne or Helena Kyle Wayne. And
I'm
she's
glad I didn't
Batman
know
and
that though,
Catwoman's
because
kid.
that's not interesting. Like the idea of any Bruce Wayne doing anything is very uninteresting to me. Like it just is.
I mean, I
just
prefer Bartonelli. Like I prefer
Yeah.
the version where she's that has that whole wake of the mob hit origin story.
I'd rather just focus on henches. Can we just be honest? Like Marvel is filled with fine bad guys, but Gotham is filled with the best bad guys and girls. Gotham is like when they say rogues gallery, like I get a chill, because you're like, oh my god. Like a lot of the stuff I do on Schmodown, I realize now is it's somewhat inspired by weird YouTube series that I watch, like Alan Tutorial and this stuff of like Wham City Comedy, and a lot of it's based on like I read a lot of comic books growing up that my dad would read together, and it was a lot based on like weirdly like not cross gender, but sort of like gender ascendant weird villains, like Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of stuff, or I'm trying to think of another good example. Just like weird others that were so totally themselves, but also evil. I was thinking of Moriarty in the new Sherlock, played by the Hoppers. He was my freaking hero after I saw Sherlock. I was like, that's the kind of bad guy, because it's not just chaotic evil; it's like chaotic gender. It's like, again, go back to Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like just chaotic everything. And it stands in such a good contrast to any sort of like, white male rage. You know what I mean? Like that, whatever that is, it's both of and it stands against it. White male rage.
Two things just occurred to me. One, the Video Drew Schmodown character would be such an amazing Batman villain. First of all,
I know, right?
Second of all, you bringing up Rocky Horror Picture Show and Dr. Frankenfurter, Travis, to somebody who has played the Arkham games, Arkham City, but it's Frankfurter instead of Hugo Strange.
What?
I need it.
What? How can they do that? How'd they get the right?
Well, no,
That did happen, or you need it to happen?
I need it to
He
happen.
needs it to happen.
I need it to be
Got
like
it.
I need the plot line of the Batman Arkham City video game, but instead of Hugo Strange being the big bad,
Well, what about the Grant
Dr.
Morrison one, where
Frankenfurter.
it's like they go through every single Batman villain, but it's like it's the Joker, but it's like he's fighting his way out of Arkham, and it's just
Yeah, that was
every
the
single
first
villain
game.
doing it. It was almost like a Neil Gaiman one, kind of like the Neil Gaiman concept of a bad guy works for me here.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to see something weird, you should watch Rocky Picture Show sequel, Shock Treatment. It's a movie. It's a thing. You should totally watch it.
How did we not know about this?
Well, if we were
Because
planning on doing
you're
it
not Video Drew, so you didn't grow up with it.
October, we're doing a Halloween special, and it's that.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it exists. So Shock Treatment, ladies
That
and
just
gentlemen.
makes it better.
That excites us more. Because if there's one
Yay!
thing we're good at, it's reviewing dog shit movies.
Dude, have me back on for that night because
We will.
Yay!
Actually, I
Guys,
have
and
I have a friend
ahead.
who was recently in a production of Rocky Horror, the Rocky Horror Show, who did an amazing turn as Frankfurter. So I might have Alex Truzzi on to just like play Frankfurter.
Like,
Just like it'll be like, Travis, Video Drew, Jared, and Dr. Frankenfurter on.
I mean, my parents showed me Rocky Horror Picture Show way too early because they were kind of like latchkey parents. They were not that attentive. So I grew up before having seen Tim Curry and anything else. I just thought of him as the funny clown who dresses like with women clothing and sings all the songs. So like I grew up with a very weird sense of like gender identity because of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So maybe that's really the origin of what I want Batman villains to be, and every villain to be is just Frankenfurter.
which is very fair, and I know that people for years
That's
have been
chaotic.
trying
That's
to. All of that makes sense because I know for years people have been saying they want to see Tim Curry get a chance at playing Joker. So
Neutral is a phrase that I just made up, and please let me.
can you reiterate that because you broke
Perfect.
up again?
Like chaotic gender neutral, like a chaotic gender neutral bathroom. But also, that's exactly what Frankenfurter and all these Moriarty and they're like liminal space bad guys because they aren't identifiable by sexuality or like any sort of creed of life. I love it.
I need that sign for my house. Like, I need that for like a bathroom I use regularly as chaotic gender neutral bathroom.
Yeah, chaotic gender. Yeah, chaotic gender neutral. I'm gonna change my Twitter bio real quick, guys. I'm changing it and changing it and changing it and cool.
We're the
so
podcast
that's
that
happened.
caused that
Thank you guys
change.
I just got a brand new job, and luckily, thank God, I found a job where they found me, where they love kayfabe. They're big wrestling fans, and like all this stuff. And I'm like, that's perfect because I am not about to change my social media, like which now seems insane because I spend 90% of my. And I'm not gonna change that anytime soon. I like really had to come to Jesus myself, where I decided that is more important to me than a lot of other things. So I'm glad I found a place that accepts me being that.
Live your truth, homegirl. Live your truth.
Thank you. I'm gonna chaotic gender neutral. What should be the pronouns? Instead of like his, her, its. I will work on it.
Like villain.
Yeah.
Like
Let's
something
say,
in that vein of like villain, Lord of Darkness.
How about entity? What I'm gonna do some synonym searching on this. The deity, DDS.
As long as it has a possessive, you're good.
Yeah, honestly.
Cult, yeah, exactly. Culter, cultus, yeah. Deity is. I love it.
Also, the other thing I really loved about this movie is I really enjoyed the soundtrack.
Oh my god, me too.
Like,
Yeah.
But I felt like it was the same people that are gonna drag like Captain Marvel for having like a dorky soundtrack or like a too on the nose. Every single song, I was like, they're gonna do. Hey. It was
One
almost
more
like last
time.
night at
Could
the
you
Oscars
say
where
what-
like
can you say
Eminem
what you
showed
said
up
again?
for no reason, and I was just so happy, and everyone in the audience was so happy, even though it was so random and
Except
like,
for Martin
unnecessary.
Scorsese looking very confused, which is still my favorite
Did you
thing
see
of that whole night.
everyone else in the audience was singing along, even though they like have no reason to like be cheering on this song right now. It was almost they were just like, "Oh yeah, fuck! Remember 8 Mile? Remember this song? No, Mackay Pfeiffer." Like everyone's singing along.
Me every other week. Man, you
Tom
remember
Hanks, everyone. My mother.
Because like I really like the Suicide Squad soundtrack, and I know there were like a couple songs on there that were like incredibly cringy and on the nose, like Heathens, but like Purple
but
Lamborghini
why?
was like
It's not the by the way, and I'm saying this as somebody who 3 months out from the final Joker trailer, like called that, that final pull shot, and I said it's going to be "Send in the Clowns" by Sondheim.
Oh,
A tweet that says it. I will give credit for Jeff Snyder for resurfacing that tweet and like putting it out there that I called it. But yeah, like I just knew it was going to be that. I have a weird sixth sense when it comes to certain things, narrative structure, like dialogue. I can usually guess. Like I can always guess a double cross. I don't know. And one of them happens to be trailer music. I can usually figure out what trailer song it's going to be. So when people say it was on the nose, I was like,
Yeah, beautifully so, though. I love that
unlike
it was
Joker.
there.
she's not on the nose. I mean, she's not.
Yeah,
so her own
no. I
thing.
meant like with this soundtrack, I loved probably a little bit more than Suicide Squad's.
What they used for Suicide Squad? They used Bohemian Rhapsody in the trailer.
They used Bohemian Rhapsody in the trailer, and then on the actual soundtrack itself, there's a Panic at the Disco cover of Bohemian Rhapsody. 21 Pilots had
Why
that.
so hard on Bohemian Rhapsody? What is that? What is that reference to?
I think it was just like the song is chaotic and fun, and that was kind of the tone they were trying to show for Suicide Squad. Even though some of the movie was like super chaotic fun, and some of it was like dreary.
Can we play a
despair.
game real? Can we play a game real quick where we think of better songs to fit a Suicide Squad than Bohemian Rhapsody? Like, there's so many. There's so many songs about like weird misfit kids or death or like hating the world and putting it to a pop song than Bohemian Rhapsody, which is not really about anything.
And and that's like, and because the music played was like its own character in Suicide Squad, in the same way as it is in Birds of Prey, that I really love. That like there are moments that are like made better by the music that they chose for it. Like
the subtext of Suicide Squad was just like Bohemian Rhapsody. This is just an incoherent mess that doesn't really come together at the end. But it's really
that's
fun
what
to
I was
listen
just
to.
thinking, actually.
I know because like I think my favorite scene in the whole movie, brief as it may have been, and I wish there was more of it, was the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend sequence.
Oh my god! So I was like oh my god, are they really doing a Moulin Rouge callback like for Ewan? Ewan? And I was like, they are. Like they specifically picked that song not for Harley, but for the fact of being like, hey, remember when this guy was the fucking hero? I also believe Ewan McGregor would do 100 more of these movies before ever trying to go back to being fucking Obi-Wan.
I mean, he said he was super into doing it. And a fun little Moulin Rouge Obi-Wan Kenobi fun fact. I don't know, Drew, if you've watched any, if at all, Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
No, I'm one of those kind of dorks who spends a lot of time thinking about Star Wars, but like in my own way, in the Jaina Solo way.
Which I respect that.
Thank you.
Fun little thing in Clone Wars is Obi-Wan interacts with a Mandalorian politician who, whenever he was still a Padawan, he had like a brief romance with that he kept on the hush hush. They named the Duchess from Mandalore Satine as a Moulin Rouge Easter egg for anybody who who has seen Moulin Rouge could appreciate it.
They named her what's her name?
Satine. Duchess Satine is her name.
Interesting.
Yeah, as a very clear shout out to all the Moulin Rouge fans, which I appreciated very much because I have not seen that movie in a minute and I really want to rewatch it. But yeah, I could have done so much. I could have watched so much more of Black Mask. I love the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Like,
oh my god, it's so good.
Because the thing that I loved about that was like, if that is how Harley processes everything else in her life,
right? Like a musical, and also, by the way, guys, it was the year of Sondheim. I guess Joker already had their Sondheim song, and Knives Out did, and the Marriage Story. But I was like, let's just get somebody who thinks in terms of a crazy ass musical while she's murdering everyone, because that's how I would do it.
I would totally watch Harley Quinn the musical.
I would totally watch Harley Quinn the musical as she goes on a murder rampage.
Yeah, I would love that very much.
That's the kind of thing I ship. I don't keep the names or the dates or whatever straight, but I definitely think about the soundtrack that I would be Harley Quinn and murder a bunch of people too.
Yeah, and as somebody who didn't dislike the gangbanger Joker in Suicide Squad,
you're the only one.
I know. I think it could have been a cool spin if it was handled more competently. To have Joker be face tattoos, whatever. I think it could have been cool if they handled it better. Like, that's why I love Purple Lamborghini as a song so much, is I was like, oh, this is like, there's one song in this very specific genre of Joker gangster rap, and it's Purple Lamborghini.
Oh God.
And like, that is.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, that was wait, what rap song was in this? It was
There are a
some
couple.
rap song. In this one.
There's the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
No, there was a rap breakdown or something, because there was the one part where Jeff actually seemed like he was having a good time. I'm dragging Jeff Snyder so hard for like bringing me to a movie that he then hated, but like in all honesty, I would have never seen this amazing movie otherwise. So I have to give him credit.
As I know, well, so they do like a different sounding version of Diamonds Is a Girl's Best Friend in the movie. On the soundtrack, like on Spotify, there is like a version
Oh my
of
God, I didn't even
there's
think
a
about getting
rap.
the soundtrack on Spotify. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there's a rap version of the song, which is really good.
That sounds like a very 90s thing, though. It's like, hey guys, you want to hear like you want to see MC Hammer do a rap breakdown of the Addams Family?
Look,
and
I'm
Diamonds Are a
still
Girl's Best
angry
Friend?
that Will Smith did not do a rap recap of Suicide Squad, and I'm still not over it.
You know what will make you feel better though? Going back and listening to Eminem's Wild Wild West song that was so bad that they didn't actually release it for the Wild West movie. But it is definitely
Ms. Video
there's-
Drew, little do you know that I regularly listen to Will Smith's music, and Wild Wild West is one of my favorite songs of all time.
No. You didn't hear me. Eminem's song of Wild Wild West that was supposed to be on the soundtrack, that is a song that you can listen to.
Bad Guys Always Die. And it's
Yeah.
actually, I love that song personally. I know it's stupid.
I'm sorry. I have to have that weird flex, even though I was told that little nugget of information like a week and a half ago, but I've been proudly like peacocking it all over town, as one does when they get a little bit of morsel of trivia.
Yeah.
Hey, that could win you a championship
That could win
if you
me
get scores
points,
and
maybe.
soundtracks.
No.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm really excited for you to see these upcoming matches. I think this season has started out as a banger, and I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Oh,
honestly.
Us too.
Honestly, for me, it's not win or lose. It's just how much chaotic gender neutral can I throw out there. So you're going to see a lot of really fun stuff happening, especially now that I'm with the dungeon, which is like my boys.
Oh my God.
They
Kaiser
have like a
is
throne
my
waiting for me.
I think of all the people in the Schmodown right now, Kaiser is my favorite, like, love to hate them. Like,
Okay, to be honest, I really did hate Kaiser because I didn't recognize that it was kayfabe when I did that episode with the Loose Cannons, and when he came on stage and started dragging us, I was so unhappy. Hey guys, you want to see something cool? And maybe this can round it out. The movie review, I'm going to put in your Discord link, but the movie review guys, Paul Preston and Paul Tom's new partner, and Adam Witt just came out with their hour. How long is it? No, they made it into 4 minutes, but it was an hour worth of shooting of post Oscar hot takes.
Oh,
in which
cool.
they had a stuff completely scripted, and I just winged it. So
that is the best way to go through that kind of thing.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna hop off and definitely go listen to that because that sounds awesome. Is there a way I can like contact? I guess I can send you it over. Let's see. Study hall. I'm just gonna throw this in here, and people can deal with it. They don't know who I am, but I just put it in study hall. Okay, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Real quick before you bounce, Travis and I will probably round up the episode. Please leave. Tell us where people can find you and your score for the movie.
Oh yeah, duh. People can find me over at like anything like /Videodrew. It's
That's
really
true.
easy, guys. Come on, like Streamlabs /Videodrew, YouTube /Videodrew, Twitter /Videodrew, Instagram /Videodrew. This is why I decided to go by Videodrew. It was already my title. That was already me.
And
So-
since this is our first movie review for Nerd Academy, instead of giving number grades, I think we do letter grades on this show now.
Oh boy.
Really interesting. Number wang, letter wang.
Drew, your grade for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn and or Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
You know what? I'm gonna give it an upside down Mexican exclamation point. No, question mark. An upside down Mexican question mark. Problem? Perfect.
I forget the name of that
Because I don't
actual character, but
What?
I like that grading.
Yeah, it's an upside down Mexican question mark at the beginning of a sentence. That's my grade. Don't at me. Please at me. Please follow and at me.
Not only do I love you for that, I also love you for your cute guys from Pittsburgh comment.
Oh, you guys are
shit,
cute.
the
You
mics
guys are
weren't hot for
adorable.
that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And you said you
you.
gotta go. Travis and I will finish this up. Thank you
Bye.
so very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Of course. That was amazing. Say hello to a very reoccurring guest. So real quick before we can get in our final thoughts here, because Drew had to bolt. Travis, take the lead on that one. Like your big takeaways here and your feelings.
DC is hitting their, like, I kind of put this up in the like, I enjoyed this as much as Shazam in a different way
Okay.
kind of thing. Like, they're just hitting, and same with Aquaman. Like, I enjoyed all of these movies, and I'm sure if I at any point find the time to actually watch Wonder Woman, I will enjoy it in the same vein. And I think I just came out of this one more surprised that I liked it, because like I said, I went into it like just fully expecting I was going to dislike this movie.
Yeah.
And so to come out like around the time the jail cells opened, when she's trying to talk to Cassandra Cain, was around the time that I was just like, oh, no, this is fun.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, my first showing, I came in a little bit late. I was immediately won over by, like, again, that Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend sequence. Like, I was like, this is weird. It's crazy, weird, and kind of fucked.
And it feels both stitched in, but not literally stitched in. Like, this is supposed to be here.
Yeah, and like I would love to see like more events from Harley's perspective, that like that's how she's taking in the situation. Like, or like even like, oh, and this is a messed up way to put it, because like I don't want to imply that like there's something glorious and cinematic about the abuse Harley Quinn has suffered. But like part of me wonders is that like her coping mechanism for when she's being assailed? Is it like that's just the place her brain goes to? Is that really weird? Like, it's a show, it's fun, it's whatever. Meanwhile, like there's awful things are happening, that like maybe that's something that she does. I love this movie so much. Truly, I am thrilled with it, and its execution of these characters. I still would very much like to see the version of this where they use the sirens.
I can live without it.
And that's completely fair. And granted, that might be because like whenever there's a part of me that's like still in denial that the Gotham City Sirens movie didn't get made, because I kind of wanted to see them take a swing at those characters. And like, granted, I'm getting Selena next year.
Yeah.
In the Batman. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this movie a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I could watch Ewan McGregor as Black Mask for forever. The fucking fuck. These are my things. This is my things. I even want to say monologue, but just like tirade was spectacular.
Spectacular news.
Yeah,
I love them. I
know.
loved every minute of it.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a part of me that's like been toying with like, am I gonna invest in cosplay stuff for the Black Mask? Because part of me wants to. There's a part of me that really, really, really wants to.
You wouldn't even have to buy the mask.
I wouldn't. I would.
But you wouldn't have to.
I wouldn't have to, because of how little he wears it. Another little nitpick for me. But I would totally do like the outfit he dies in, like the burgundy, and just because I love that color and just everything about the movie. Travis, your letter grade for?
I'll give it an ampersand, which is the and symbol. I looked up the name for it. I was gonna give it like a B- to a B, but that's too normal. And I love the idea of chaotic gender neutral.
Yes, me the fuck too. And I have every intention of like out of context tweeting that and just be like, chaotic gender neutral. Tune into the Birds of Prey review. I think my biggest metric, and we talked about this on the old show before, is for me is like when grading a movie, a lot of it comes down to what is this movie trying to be? How successful is it at being that? Like, you know, for example, Dark Phoenix tries to be grandioso, melancholy finale, and because it drops the ball narratively so many times and it's so incoherent, it kind of fails in that regard for me. This on that level gets an A from me because it's like this movie knows what it is and is that very well. I think as a whole, as a complete narrative, I'm leaning towards B to B plus. But it's a solid B, and I absolutely loved it, and I want more. And you know, I'm slowly coming to grips with the fact that like the DC movies aren't going to be a hard cinematic universe like Marvel.
Yeah, and I think they're better for it, honestly.
But yeah,
in that way that like I don't agree with a lot of what High Top says, and I think he over exaggerates some things, but the fact that like DC filmmakers can do what they want to a degree, like
yeah,
they reference Suicide Squad because this is the same Harley Quinn, and so that like that just benefits them with that character recognition. But like they didn't have to.
they did.
This wasn't like this existed as its own like movie. Shazam exists as its own movie, and they're better for it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if they do find a way to somehow, you know, amalgamate everything into one shared universe, I'll be a happy boy. But I am really enjoying what we're getting so far. So yeah, this is our first movie review on this show, and I'm very happy for it. Again, big.
It wasn't a shit show.
It wasn't a shit show. Very big thank you again to Video Drew for joining us. Hopefully we're able to get more Schmodown people on here, and we'll have to, you know, not start drooling and freaking out. And by we, I mean me, because you're good at not losing your shit over stupid shit like that.
I just freeze and don't talk. It's pretty easy.
I start talking too much. But yeah, where can lovely people find you, Travis?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Travis Political. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552.
Lies. I'm kidding.
I'll change it tonight before it gets uploaded, just out of spite.
You shouldn't do that. That's not good for brand recognition.
You're absolutely right.
It's a bad business plan, my friend.
You guys can all. It's a bad business plan, my friend. You guys can also find me or find the Nerd Academy at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and on YouTube, as well as our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. And again, be sure to check out everything Video Drew is doing. And if you listen to this show and don't watch the Movie Trivia Schmodown, do yourself a favor and watch, in my opinion, one of the coolest things on the internet. Class dismissed.
Go see Birds of Prey. You have the homework's continued. Your due date's been extended to whenever you can go see it.
Because this movie does not deserve to bomb.
No, it actually doesn't.